Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the PHNX Suns post-game show brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay Smith. I'm alive. I'm finally back, and I'm joined by Gerald Bourguet, Saul Bookman, and Espo. And unfortunately, we are not celebrating a very happy Merry Christmas tonight. Christmas is ruined. We all got coal. Who pissed off Santa, you guys?
Apparently Landry Shamet did, because whatever that was with Aaron Gordon was complete and utter horseshit. All right? Just crap. That was a charge. There's nothing that you can tell me otherwise. He braced at the end, which every guy does when he's about to take a charge like that. And that was asinine. That was the worst call I've seen in a very long time. And I don't rail on the refs on this show much. I usually say, bad calls on both ends. This was complete horseshit tonight.
Saul, you want to offer your thoughts on that?
No, not really. Listen, I could see both points of view. I know a lot of Suns people are probably going to hate me for that. I thought it was a bang bang play. I didn't really understand why they went to the review. If they called it a charge, I will say this. They called it a charge on the floor. I didn't feel like there was enough to overturn that call, like something blatantly obvious. So they should have stuck with the call on the floor. But I understand, I guess, Gerald, I think what you had said, or you had read that there's a rule in place for the restricted area to which they can go to the review for that, right?
Yeah, so that was where my issue comes in, is like I think it was by the letter of the law, like the right call. There is a trigger that if it's in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime, and officials have doubt as to whether the defender was in the restricted area, they can go and review it. And when they review it, they can also confirm if the defender was, if it was a charge or a block, basically. But my thing is, he was 3 feet outside.
There was no doubt he was in was outside of the restricted area.
They were using that as an excuse to be able to go look and review that. That's probably the bigger issue, not whether or not it was a charge or a block, but the fact that he was so far away from the lane that if you were able to make that call as a block or a charge, you damn well should have been able to see that he was that far away from the restricted area. So I think they were trying to use that as to their advantage, even though they knew that was the case.
Horseshit. And that's like me living in Apache Junction and telling people my address is in Scottsdale. It ain't even fucking close.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. Like, by the letter of the law, they were allowed to look at it. I think that they kind of went with the spirit of the law on that one, because they were basically like, that was a cool Christmas Day dunk. We probably shouldn't call that a charge. They reviewed it and they overturned it, which sucks for the Suns. But like, that was I'm against the charge in general, just like as a ban the charge. I'm on that team. But yeah, that's a tough break.
Ban the charge.
Yeah,
it's been part of the game forever.
It's fucking lame. Just play defense. We don't need charges.
That is part of defense.
No, it's not. That's how people get hurt, by doing the charge.
No, yeah, they get hurt because somebody like Aaron Gordon tries to put all his weight on Shamet when he comes down too.
Here, I'll say this. I actually agree with Gerald, because if you ever go to the park and play, nobody ever takes a charge at the park. You got to play defense. You got to man up. Like, that's just how it is.
That is manning up.
That's because normal people...
You run me over, it's an offensive foul. That's...
Normal people who play basketball at the park can't afford to get hurt like a basketball player does, quite literally and figuratively. That's why you don't do that at the park.
Getting hurt is one thing, but getting your soul taken, like
brother.
God
Landry deserved that.
He could have made a business decision and out like a puss, and he stood there and took it.
Foul or not, if Aaron Gordon was a Phoenix Sun right now doing what he just did, we'd lose our shit.
Totally.
Just like the people in Denver are doing right now. Listen, I've been clamoring for just a good basketball game, and I'm glad we finally got one from the Phoenix Suns. I know it was a loss, and that does suck, but this was a fun game to watch. Like, whether you're a Suns fan, a Nuggets fan, or an NBA fan, that's what my Christmas present I choose to take away from this is.
Okay, real quick. We do have to address this. Espo, stop yelling because you're hurting everyone's ears. Saul, speak up because they can't hear you. Okay,
I'm shouting.
You're not shouting. We can't hear you, and no one in here can. But Espo, you're too loud. You got to whisper.
Hey, turn it down if I'm too loud for you people. This is what being fired up after a game like that is all about. To the people saying, oh, they were up 10, one call doesn't make the difference. Okay, they were up 10, but they were playing a team that was significantly more talented due to all the injuries. I don't mind that lead got cut. One play does make the difference. That swung all the momentum at the end, made it a 2-possession game. That does change things in overtime there. So I get it. You were up, but one play does make a difference in the bigger picture of it.
Yeah, but this was a game full. Does my mic sound better now, or no? Is it better? Okay. But this was a game full of one thing here or one thing there that could have made a difference, especially before you got to overtime. Chris Paul makes some free throws. We're not even in this ball game if he just shoots his career average. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's many little things here and there that could have gone either way. That's why this was such a great game.
Yeah, I'm kind of the opinion like this is another tough learning process for especially the two young cornerstones, but everyone really without Devin Booker in the clutch. We've seen them kind of cough up leads in a couple of games recently. The Wizards game, they were up 10 with 5 minutes to go. This game, they were up 8 or 10 around that same time. And like you want to see more from Mikal Bridges and Deandre Ayton in these situations. Like, I'm sorry, the scouting report is out on Deandre Ayton when he does his spin move in the middle of the lane. There's always a guy on the other shoulder, and he's always going to get picked off that way. And Mikal Bridges' turnaround jumper against Jamal Murray that was an air ball and might have gotten blocked. Like, those are just plays that you don't want to see out of the two other cornerstones of your franchise in a close game when you're missing your best player. Like, they both have to be better in these situations. And I know Ayton had that nice up and under finish there. He had a couple of good plays, and he was good for the most part tonight. But, like, down the stretch, you can't rely on either one of these guys right now, and that's a problem.
I would say this. Like, I agree with the scouting report, right? Because what was happening was he was getting doubled in the paint, and then as soon as he would make his move, they'd attack him from the top side as well. So he was basically getting triple teamed, and each one of those times, because he brought the ball so low, turnover. And I actually think that this is one of those few times where they actually did try to work offense around Ayton down the stretch. And that's where the learning curve is going to start to come, right? Now he's getting those opportunities a little bit more as being more of the focal point when things are kind of shaky like they were. And I think you started to notice tonight that Chris Paul did, in fact, lose a little bit of a step because he wasn't as assertive to getting to his scoring spots like he has been in the past. Which is okay, because now you kind of realize for sure, like, okay, this is what we see. We're working the ball through Ayton. It's not working, but I do think that this is going to be a learning point, and they will coach the shit out of him in film study tomorrow. Like, Ayton, look, every single time you dropped it below your chest, turnover. You got to stop.
Well, look, you bring up Chris Paul. Chris Paul, to me, 3 out of 4 games, every 3 out of 4 games is a glorified Kendall Marshall at this point. A guy that is great at distributing and is a liability when shooting at this point. It's troubling. Tonight, missing those free throws, 5 of 10 from the free throw line, shooting poorly from the field, and not being that guy that you can count on down the stretch. I mean, he shot 35% from the field and didn't hit a three-pointer, and shot 50% from the free throw line. That's the difference there. If he hits those free throws, I mean, if he's just Chris Paul at the free throw line that we've come to expect, not even the field, that's a different ball game. There's a problem there.
I also, I mean, we've seen some tough shooting performances from him tonight. I do wonder how much that stinger from the other night might have been an issue. He doesn't miss free throws. Like, we've seen him miss middies. We've seen him miss threes. The free throw thing is not something we've ever seen him do. I'm not making excuses for the guy. He needs to shoot better if he's going to be out there or sit out. But I do wonder about that after he took that stinger the other night, if that is something that maybe came into play, because every shot that he was taking was short. It's all short, and it's been short all season long. So like this is becoming a concern
before and after the stinger.
Yeah,
Right,
but not on the free throws.
Yeah,
No,
but
yeah.
if you see him regressing in one area offensively, why wouldn't it bleed over to other areas?
Yeah, and
You know?
right. And like I said, I'm not trying to pin this on Mikal and DA alone. There were so many things that went wrong down the stretch, so many turnovers, bad offensive possessions. They took Chris Paul out for 90 seconds and the offense just completely went to shit and they had to bring him back in right away because they had like 2 or 3 turnovers back to back to back. So this was a team loss all in all, but you're hoping that they're taking these L's in close game situations and actually learning from them and going to be able to expand on them. And the Mikal thing is concerning for me because he hasn't really shown a lot in those scenarios this season.
You know, I do find it really interesting. I know that we've seen a lot more people in the chat and on social media this season specifically bringing up Mikal and just him not producing in the way that we all expected him to this season. This, I think, is the first night where I've seen more comments about Mikal Bridges' play than I have DA and Chris Paul combined. Everyone is very upset with Mikal Bridges tonight, and honestly, rightfully so. Like, I don't know, rightfully so in the sense of at least what our expectations were, and maybe our expectations were too high.
Well, I think Mikal Bridges is a solid defensive player, one of the better ones in the league. I think he's a mid offensive player, and that's based on the consistency that he showed. Like again, like you just never know what you're going to get from Mikal night in, night out. Versus DA now has been a little bit more consistent over the course of the last month and a half offensively, you know, so you're pretty much, you know, you're going to get 20 from DA every night and maybe a double. With Mikal, you can get 30, 35, and you can get 6. And tonight was, you know, kind of showed a little bit of that, you know, he just kind of disappeared in spots. You almost forgot he was on the floor. And then at a crucial point in the game, he takes a turnaround jumper, gets it blocked, and luckily he blocked Jamal Murray down at the other end. But that's kind of in a microcosm, that's what it is, a block shot of his own on one end, and then he blocks Jamal Murray on the other, and that's just Mikal right now.
Right. And it's funny because we keep, like a month ago, we were talking about how DA needs to find the consistency that Mikal Bridges is showing, and now it's completely flip-flop. We will probably be flip-flopping again a month from now, because that's the infuriating part about these two is neither one has proven definitively to us, yes, I'm the number 2 guy. I can be the number 2 guy. Chris Paul, take it easy. I'm that guy now. Neither one of them has done that yet. And until we have that guy, we're going to continue to wonder about this team's ceiling, and we're going to continue to lose games like this against teams that have a number 1 guy, that have a number 2 guy, and that have guys that know their roles and live up to them on a nightly basis.
So go ahead.
Go ahead, Espo.
I was just gonna say, DA has done this before, where you get 7-game stretches that you go, he's turned the corner, and then he'll have 8 points in a game. I mean, there were 3 times. Let me look at this exactly. There were 2 times this month, 8 points and 5 points in a game. Like it's not consistent overall. I'm not ready to say that Ayton has fully turned that corner either. The last 7 games, sure. He's been consistent the last 7 games, but until I see it for 2 months at a time, I'm not going to claim that he's turned that corner. Mikal has never been consistent offensively. This team still needs a number 2 guy, and internal development does not seem like it's going to give it to you.
Okay, so that's the question that I have, right? Because we got a super chat from Trevor. We actually got 2 super chats from Trevor. Thank you for that, Trevor. Merry Christmas to us, y'all. First and foremost, he said, if CP is playing injured, he's a liability. Absolutely, yes. But to your point, Espo, he also said, I smell another losing streak coming. Book will definitely be out for a while. Mikal disappears and DA turns the ball over in tight games. Do you think we'll ever get to a point this season or even beyond where one of those 2 players is consistent enough?
I think we're close to DA. Okay. I think we're close to DA. I mean, you can go back over the last month and a half, and DA's performed better than he's performed subpar, right? Like Espo pointed out a couple games. He has a couple more in November. I think about 4 or 5 out of like a 30-game stretch out, and then minus the injuries. Obviously, he missed some games for injuries. So yeah. I think he's far more closer to being that consistent number 2 than Mikal is. I feel like he has some go-to moves that he can kind of count on a little bit more reliably than Mikal. Mikal's still trying to figure out. The only thing Mikal really has shown a propensity to be able to do is to be able to pull up at that mid-range spot in the middle of the key more consistently, almost like a fadeaway jumper, if you will. But when that's not there, he doesn't really have anything else in his bag to go to. So that's where he struggles a little bit more than DA does.
December 2nd, 8 points in 30 minutes. December 7th, 8 points in 24 minutes. December 13th, 5 points in 14 minutes. That's not consistency to me. I need 2 months where I'm not seeing a single digit scoring performance before I'm willing to say we're out of the woods with Deandre Ayton. I feel more optimistic that he might get there than I did a month and a half ago, but I'm not willing to christen him as the guy who's turned it around, figured it out, and is on his way to being the number 2 option here. I don't see it yet.
I mean, I don't think anybody appointed him that. I certainly didn't say that. I said I think he's closer to being that number 2 than Mikal is. That's all I said.
Yeah, I would love to be proven wrong by both guys, honestly, but I don't see it this season, at least for either guy. I think in the future maybe, but as of right now, the consistency is just not there. I think with Mikal, it's a confidence thing, it's a consistency thing. With DA, it's a consistency thing and it's a skill set thing. Like, he just inherently doesn't have reliable handles to be able to create enough of his offense to be a number 2 guy. He needs the pick and rolls. He needs things like that to set him up. And that's inherently hard to do in the NBA with the pace and space formula that teams use. So I just don't see it this season for either one.
Big moves. Thank you for the super chat. Kind of feels similarly to you. Gerald said DA and Mikal combined get $222 million on their contracts just to consistently show us they can't create their own shots. That's unacceptable. Is that the next thing? Is that like the game changer?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that what turns this all around? The 2 of them being able to create their own shots?
Well, I think yeah, one of them at least. But I also think like the defensive side of the ball gets lost in this conversation about the number 2 guy, because they definitely need that guy in late game scenarios like we saw tonight. But like, their defense just hasn't been good since the calendar flipped to December. And a lot of that is guys being out. But this team made its bread and butter on that side of the floor last year and to start this season. And there's been so many guys in and out, it's hard to create that connectivity. And so, you know, you got Jokic going off for 41, 15, and 15. You've got those late game mistakes where Jamal Murray just gets wide open for 3 after 3. Like, those are areas where last year's Suns team would not have allowed that to happen.
Well, not just the 3, he got the dunk too late, which was just lazy.
But that dunk, that's a perfect example of, like, it's not always just DA and Mikal. Now that was a pick off of Ayton, but the fucking weak side blocks got to step up and be in the way. Nobody on the weak side even flinched towards Jamal Murray going right down the middle of the lane. So I can't really put that on Mikal or DA because RJ's right when he pointed it out. Like, DA's got to hold Jokic. He's right there in the middle of the lane. If he comes over, it's a dump to Jokic for 2. So, like, that weak side defense was terrible. And I feel like it's just everybody expects DA and Mikal to bail the team out all the time. Other fucking dudes got to step up too.
Yeah, but Gerald's point is the team defense has been crap since the beginning of December. And to his point, yeah, it could be in part because you've got so many people coming in and out of the lineup due to injury, but you know, that's a team defense thing, and those 2 guys are the anchors, so the communication runs through them as well. I'm not saying it's all them, but it's a team defensive problem right now, and that's a huge issue with this, is they can't stop anybody. So when they have offensive outbursts like they do tonight, where their bench comes up big for them, they're just not getting the stops that they did last year.
It's a really unfortunate thing that we have to be talking about all of this stuff tonight of all nights when we had such a great game. But you know what helps with that?
What's
Four
that?
Peaks beer. Four Peaks beer will help wash away all the sadness, the despair, the Christmas cold that we all got. It's officially 12/13 on the 26th, which means Christmas is over. So we can start to put this one a little bit in the past. But Four Peaks beer, it's fantastic. And you should join us at our inaugural PHNX Tea Party presented by Four Peaks at Dobson Ranch Golf Course. We're going to have so much fun on Friday, January 13th. P.S. I know Christmas is over, but if you forgot to give somebody a gift, a ticket to this would be a great gift that you can snag them. It's $45 per person, $36 if you're a diehard, or you can do group discounts on those type of things. We're renting out the entire driving range, so come hang out with Big Drive Energy, all of us and fellow diehards for a night of golf, food, drinks, contests, prizes, and so much more. And also, we're going to be hosting a watch party for Suns versus Timberwolves that night as well. So check the link in the description to reserve your spot right now. And for our diehards, check the Discord for a special link where you can save 20% on the amazing event. We're going to turn things around real quick because we've got so many super chats talking about our guy, Landry Shamet. Chris,
Whoa.
Chris said, Chris,
Don't
thank
say
you for your
our.
super chat.
Like we're all inclusive here.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
You're the lone wolf. So Chris, thank you for your super chat. Said we were 4 points away. 4 points away. Gordon hit us with another super chat. Said Shamet has graduated from Target to Nordstrom's Devin Booker, respectfully, of course. And then Gordon also sent us another super chat. Gordon, thank you for both of those. We appreciate you. Said Landry's been going off. I want him to get his flowers. Well, this is the time where we give Landry Shamet all the flowers. 31 points tonight, you guys. If we would have gone to double overtime, we 100% would have hit their 35 mark. We were texting Saul in the group chat late in the game, and he was like, y'all, I'm stressed. He admitted it. He was stressed.
Yeah. Hey, listen, the last game he hit the 31 like at the buzzer, so he had 28. He was flirting with it, but he wasn't really flirting with it. So I felt this game, I was like, oh shit, dude. We're gonna fuck around and go to overtime, and I'm gonna lose this bet, and it's gonna be ugly. Again, like I have people just hitting me up on Twitter all the time. As soon as he got to 15 at halftime, I'm like, oh my gosh. Good thing my phone was on airplane mode, so I didn't get to see a lot of stuff because I was trying to charge it as fast as I could to be on this show. So I didn't have to subject myself to some of the people that were really, really hoping this happened.
Hey, I just feel bad because we got to see fantastic Landry Shamet now. And for the first time, we're going to have a guy in concussion protocol, and we're going to understand why. Because dude's going to have to get that head checked after taking that charge. So
yeah, that sucks because now we've had back-to-back nights where he sets his career high and then ties it. They both came in losses, and this one came on Christmas where the only thing that anybody's going to remember is the dunk at the end. I feel for Landry Shamet, man. He was right there, and he was legitimately great tonight. Like, he's been playing really well lately. He was carrying their offense there for a couple of stretches. Hats off to him for hopefully turning a corner here.
He's the reason why they came back in overtime. I mean, those back-to-back threes are what kind of catapulted the team forward and gave them that little extra juice. Like, hey, we're not out of this yet. Landry was fantastic. I can't take that away from him. I feel like I will say this. I'm not as confident about the 35 anymore as I once was, because now that's twice this week that he dropped 31 points. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here, Landry? Stop playing around with my emotions, right? Like, listen, if he broke 35, I'd be happy for him, because I've been his toughest critic, I think, out there. He played well tonight. The only problem is, again, like, he's just not really a point guard. So when they have to take Chris Paul out tonight, it did suffer, but he more than made up for it on the offensive side by shooting the lights out. Really, he was fantastic, and it just looks like he's a lot more comfortable out there of late than I can ever recall. So it doesn't seem like he's forcing. It seems like he's got his little mojo back. So, stay at about 34 or less, Landry. We good. We good.
It's gonna happen. Okay, so there's a couple things that are going on in the chat right now. First and foremost, Killer X sent us a super chat. Thank you for your super chat. Said Sham God for SGA while his stock is higher than ever. But then Code says, I think the bet should live on even if he gets traded. So,
No. No.
Come on.
No. Fuck no.
I'm not sure the bet's going to live on even with him on this team as he keeps scoring 30 points. I think Bookman's going to find it out in this clause somehow to get away with it.
Okay. I got another one.
All I'm waiting for right now is I'm just holding on until Devin Booker comes back. Once Devin Booker comes back, I should be okay.
Hey.
But oh my gosh, we're holding on for dear life right now.
So sometime in February is what you're holding out for now.
Okay, how about this, Saul? Because Code hit this one too. Imagine Shamet getting traded and dropping 35 his first game back against Phoenix. What if he gets traded and the bet only lives on while he plays the Suns?
Listen here, Lindsay. Lindsay.
I need this, Saul. This is feeding my soul.
Let me help you out, okay? Landry fucking Shamet has to do it in a Suns jersey or it doesn't count. And if we continue to push, I'll nix it all.
See, I told you you'd find a way to try to get out of it.
I'm not. I said 35 points as a Phoenix Sun. That's it.
That's fine. We can go with that. But if you back out of the Inner Suns jersey, I'm going to give you shit for the rest of your life.
I won't back out of it. I promise you I won't back out of it.
Okay, deal.
I'm not a punk like some other people.
Right. Well, he can't because he already expertly navigated his way from 30 points to 35. If it was 30, he'd be leaving January looking more tatted than Machine Gun Kelly.
I'm not getting a tattoo, Gerald. I said that.
He did say no tattoos.
Hey, Masab in the chat says it right. Nah, ain't no plea deals. The deal is set, Bookman.
No, that's Lindsay trying to plea deal with me. What are you talking about?
To be
trying
fair,
to get her way,
it.
just because we all know Landry Shamet. That's the other thing, right? I just either got to make it to Devin Booker or I got to make it to the trade deadline. One of those two has got to happen.
Oh my gosh! But you know what? Landry brought us so much joy tonight. It was so much fun to watch him ball out there. I feel bad for him because he's going to be on a highlight reel for a few months, probably the whole season at the very
years.
For life.
They're going to show that on the Jumbotron every time we go back to Denver. You know what's going to happen.
You're going to search
did the best he could.
You're going to search poster dunk on YouTube. That's going to be the first 10 videos to come up for the next decade. Let's be honest.
This is fair, but I feel bad for him because he did have a really, really good night. And we're not giving him this award just because of the situation at the end of this game. We're giving him this award.
Actually get baptized on the court. He got baptized. God, dog.
Brandon Knight is writing a thank you note that he no longer is the guy that they're going to default to when they go, man whose soul was snatched from his body on a dunk.
No. I'm never going to give it off of that one. That was way grosser than this one, but pretty good, Aaron Gordon.
I mean, it's so, man, I feel so bad for him. Like Golden Boy is saying, Shamet the only one without ego and with the balls to step in and help the team to win, and all here are poking fun of him. We're not making fun of the situation that happened to Landry. Like what Landry tried to do was probably the best move that he could have done in that situation for his team. What we're poking fun of is the entirety of that situation. The officials looking at it again, just the way that it all went down. Like, and everyone, anytime you get posterized, regardless, even if it gets called off, this happens. Like people are going to talk about it forever. It is what it is.
Also,
it's the choice of making that decision.
Also, part of this pod itself is about reacting the same way anybody else would react. And if you've ever been to the gym and saw somebody get dunked on, even if it's your own teammate, you're still going to give them shit. Like, that's just how it is. Like, that's basketball culture. I mean, listen, Shamet had a phenomenal game, and he got baptized. The two can occur at the same time. It's fine.
Can we have a conversation about this? People act like this is some, he's not a man. He got his soul taken, like I was joking. But I don't think there's anything more manly than what he decided to do in that moment. He could have went business decision, turned, and let Aaron Gordon dunk. And instead he went, you know what? I'm going to step in front of this freight train, full well knowing what is likely going to happen, in an attempt to try to make my team still have a shot here.
I don't know if he really realized until Aaron Gordon jumped from where he jumped what he was about to get into.
Yeah, but it's Aaron Gordon. Everyone knows what he's capable of. He showed multiple dunks earlier in the game.
It's different in the moment. It was like as soon as he realized, he was like, "Oh shit."
Go back and watch. When he sets, he's already eye to crotch level with Aaron Gordon there, as Gordon's already taken off. He's just like, he knew what he was in for, and he still was like, you know what? All right, let's do this.
I respect him. He looked death in the face today.
Yeah.
He did.
He only flinched a little bit.
And what made it worse was the fact that Aaron Gordon fell on top of him afterwards.
Yeah, that looked like a hurt.
That's the part that I'm a little bit concerned about, because Gordon's whole ass hip fell on Landry Shamet's face. Yeah. And he is not a small man by any means. That had to have hurt. Legitimately, that had to have hurt.
He did it for the cause, but the cause was not the right one.
Look, Jesus was born on December 25th, and Landry Shamet died for Suns fans' sins on the same day.
God.
All right?
Why?
Oh man.
Okay, that one went too far. Okay, so back to Landry Shamet. We're going to name him our Draft King of the game. Landry Shamet balled out tonight. He finished with 31 points. He was 10 of 20 from the field, 7 of 17 from deep. He also had 6 assists in there and 2 rebounds. So congratulations to Landry Shamet for being tonight's king of the game. And also, if you guys have not yet downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app, make sure you do that. It makes sports so much more fun when you got a little money on the line. And if you sign up with the code PHNX, you can place a $5 pregame money line bet on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Also, we're talking about games. The Suns are on a really pretty long road trip here coming up. But our friends over at the Game Time app, when they come back into town, they got you hooked up and ready to go to get tickets for Suns games.
Wait, you can use the Game Time app anywhere. It doesn't have to be just for home games. So if you're on the road,
this is true. We do
the
have
Suns
a
are
lot
coming
of
to town. Let's go.
We do have a lot of listeners who are all over the country and the world. So you can use the Game Time app if one of the cities that the Suns are headed to over the next week or so are a city that you are close to or live in. It's amazing because you can save up to 60% when you buy your tickets last minute. And the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. It's super easy. The link is literally podcast, YouTube, wherever you listen or watch our show, you can find the link in the description of that. So make sure you check it out if you are looking for tickets to any upcoming sporting events or concerts, because it's also great for concerts as well. Okay, so
I just realized something, guys, real quick. I think my ugly Christmas sweater predicted what we were going to see tonight.
Oh, no.
It's Santa posterizing a reindeer with an elf falling over. And I feel like that's exactly what we saw with Landry tonight.
It's Santa Gordon.
My God.
Okay, but Loki, that's a really great Christmas sweater.
It's a very cool Christmas sweater.
That's a solid sweater.
That's funny.
Okay, so we kind of tiptoed around this and joked about it a little bit. But Devin Booker, obviously leaving the game early tonight and not returning due to what they said was re-injuring or having difficulties with that groin injury that he's been dealing with. Scale of 1 to 10, concern level?
11.
Okay.
3.
3?
Yeah, I'm not concerned.
Why?
I think he got excited about trying to play against the Denver Nuggets on Christmas night. He wanted to play, and that's a big thing for NBA players, apparently. I didn't realize that was as big a deal as it ended up being today, hearing some of the other games and how prideful a lot of players were to play on Christmas Day. So I think he just forced his way to come back, and he just wasn't ready. So now the training staff will be like, yeah, I think we'll make the next call. You just chill.
I mean, I hope so, but they were saying he was limping on the bench, and you saw his reaction in the first quarter. He did not look like a happy camper. He was in his warm-ups or street clothes or whatever you want to call it by that point. And look, the Suns have lost 9 of their last 13 games now. I'm not saying they're free falling by any means, but without Devin Booker, I think they have 1 win out of 5 or 6 games this season. It has not gone well for them when he's been out there. I'm if he re-aggravated it, we got clarification. It's his left groin now instead of just groin soreness. But like, if he's out for a couple weeks, this team is flirting with play-in territory real quick.
Cue the Tom Petty. Free falling is happening right now. And if Devin Booker's out for any specific or any significant amount of time, this is trouble. We've seen what this team looks like without Devin Booker. And on most evenings, it's not pretty. Tonight was the first time that they showed heart, hustle, and determination to keep in it without Devin Booker for significant time. I think it was one other game that he's been out this year that they did that. Otherwise, this team looks lost and confused when Devin Booker isn't there. If he's out for more than 2 games, this is trouble.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen this season without him, but I will say this, like, listen, these other players have got to step up somehow, some way. And if it has to be without Devin Booker for them to get their legs under them and understand, like, what they can bring, or more importantly, what they cannot bring to the table, then I'm okay with taking a few L's in his absence to figure out, let the offense, like tonight, run through DA and run through Mikhail every now and then and see what they got. And maybe they'll get calloused up enough to where they can start to respond in those situations down the road, and the whole team will be better for it. But we've long said this team was only going to go as far as Mikhail, Cam, and DA could take them. Right now, we're starting to see that isn't very far at all. And those two are going to have to step up in Cam's absence and Devin Booker's absence. And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. We might end up being in the play-in or maybe the 5 or 6 seed. I'm okay with that if that means that we are better all around once we hit the playoffs than we are right now.
Yeah, I think there's validity to that argument that this kind of trial by fire can help some of those guys expand their games a little bit, or at least get outside their comfort zone, so that when Booker, when Cam Johnson come back, they're more comfortable in roles that they're more familiar with again. And if this team is fully healthy come playoff time, like we saw it at the beginning of the season, that 5-man lineup is still really good. And hopefully some of these bench guys will carry some of the confidence they've gained over these last couple of weeks with them. But for the time being, like, this is probably their toughest stretch of the season. They haven't been playing well recently. They showed a lot of fight tonight, which was great. I think they took Monty Williams' challenge the other night to heart, but it still wasn't enough. They have too many third options on this team and not enough guys that are going to take that mantle. So I'm a little concerned for the short term, long term, just as long as it's not anything season ending or, months at a time. I think they'll still be okay long term.
Can somebody go wake up James Jones, because this team needs something? I mean, I don't care if it's signing a guy here, just to give an extra body, making a trade because there's something that you're finally interested in. But I'm sick of the lack of movement here in general. We were told, wait till the offseason, last trade deadline. Then, wait till December 15th. Now it'll be wait till January 15th. And then I'm going to be told to wait till the trade deadline. And when nothing significant happens, then I'm going to be told to wait till the offseason again. Well, guess what? I'm done waiting. Help your team. They're flatlining in some ways right now.
Trevor sent us a super chat. Trevor, thank you for that. Said, Suns pulled a cards. They thought it was best to run it back with the same players without getting much help that they needed. These younger teams are faster. And we've been talking about that this whole entire season. We've been talking about that to the point where it is almost like sickening to have to continue to talk about it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, somebody else in the chat earlier was like, I never want to hear the words internal development ever again. Like, we're at the point where we're like, we tried that and we're cool with continuing to go down that route if it's in addition to making moves. Like, we can internally develop and we can also externally develop as well. Like, you could do both.
Yeah.
You don't have to pick one or the other.
Listen, I think we're getting a taste of what the rest of the NBA or some of the other power teams in the NBA have had to go through the last couple of years. I knew it was going to come at some point. Like, I knew we were going to be without a star or two, somewhere. And now we're here. And not only the players have got to readjust and figure out what life is going to look like without Devin Booker for the foreseeable future. Obviously, we don't know how long that foreseeable future is, but at the same time, hey, suck it up. Here we go. You got to play higher. You got to play harder. You got to play longer. Like, that's just how it is. And, you know, and us as a fan base, guess what? We have to adjust too. And we have to, you know, we have to realize that, like, this isn't the 2021 Suns. It isn't the 64 win team Suns. This is a completely different team. They've taken a step back clearly right now, and they've got to make some moves. And I know James Jones has been the topic of some of that discern, and that's fine. And he's got to step his game up as well and try to help his team. But right now, they're going to go through it, and they're going to go through it for a little bit, because I don't see a trade coming anytime soon.
Well, he better figure his shit out, because like I said on one of our fast takes the other day, that clock is ticking metaphorically and literally, because Matt Ishbia is a new guy coming in here with a ton of money. These guys don't want to sit there and let guys that they didn't select make the decisions and try to pull the strings if they're not showing progress and ability to do so. So I think he has to prove something between now and the trade deadline to make sure that seat isn't extremely hot for him.
Yeah, you hope that's the case. And for me, the frustration comes from, we haven't been able to fully evaluate this team for more than snapshots at a time. Like, we got the first handful of games. Cam Johnson was even injured for a couple of those. Chris Paul goes down for 15 games or whatever it was. Cam Johnson out. Landry Shamet out. DA out. Campaign out. Devin Booker out. Like, we're getting these little glimpses of what individual guys can do in different roles. Like Torrey Craig starting, he's been good. Damian Lee, we know he's never going to miss a fourth quarter three-pointer ever in his life. But, like, we don't know what a Suns playoff rotation right now would even look like if they had all their guys, because it's just one after another of having somebody fill in to a role that they're not really going to be in when you're at full strength for the playoffs or what. Like, it's just a constant shuffling and improvising. And that's what's the frustrating part for me, is you're getting glimpses of what guys can and can't do, but you need to also put them in rotations that they're comfortable with and that they're used to playing with come playoff time. Otherwise, like, a lot of these rotations that we're going to see are of guys that didn't really spend that much time together because they were playing up or they were playing out of their comfort zone or whatever. So that's the rough part for me. I just want to see this team get healthy and have a better idea of what guys' actual roles are going to be.
Yeah, we got a couple more super chats from Gordon. Gordon, thank you for all your super chats tonight. We really appreciate them. They said, full health Cam J is God mode, though. And to your point, Gerald, like, if we had Cam Johnson on this team, I'm not saying he's the difference maker or he is the number two or anything of that. But it does make a difference when you have all the players that you intended to have at the exact same time, playing in their right spots, in the right rotations and all that kind of stuff. It does make a difference. I'm not saying that's an excuse, because this team, in theory, especially coming off the season we had last year, and if James Jones truly thought that this was a team that was capable of winning a championship, then in theory, they should be able to sustain themselves despite these injuries. But we're seeing that that's being a lot harder to accomplish than maybe what they thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
and it's a ton of injuries like we've had to deal with. It's unfortunate for sure.
Yeah, but look, if championships were won on paper, we'd have 10 banners in the Footprint Center. Like that's the thing here. I get the hypotheticals and what would this team be if they weren't injured or this or that, but the reality is they are. The reality is Chris Paul does not look right. And now you're sitting here and you got to figure out how to pick up the pieces now and what your future plan is, because if this isn't an all-in season and try to make major moves to try to win now, what are you doing to set yourself up for success this offseason and into next season over the next 45 days before the deadline as well? Because you're still facing a cap situation that is not great going into next year. And you have these expiring contracts that need to, if they're not going to help you win this year, bring in guys that you can go over the luxury tax for and set you up for success next year. So there's a lot on the line here over the next few months beyond, are they a first round exit this year or can they win a title? the future is on the line a bit too.
Well, I guess we shall see. We have one last super chat from Gordon. Thanks again, Gordon. Saul, this one's for you. Sham God about to drop 36 next game. Saul knows. Saul knows. You better watch out, Saul.
I don't know who Shamgod is, so I will not acknowledge their presence.
Oh man, come
Saul
on!
knows,
He almost
y'all.
gave us the best Christmas gift of all time today.
Saul knows.
He
Yo,
kind of did still. I mean,
really-
that's
it's
a
true.
moment we're not going to forget at least.
I wasn't talking about that.
Well, I wasn't talking about that either. I was talking about just like he was a big part of an enjoyable basketball game.
Yes.
Like he was. He did give us a good Christmas as far as like being a spark on this team that gave us good basketball to watch tonight, which is more than we could say about Friday night, right?
This is true. Where do you guys sit? Like, I'm at a point where I'm almost willing to sacrifice next game, have them lose by 25, but have Shamet score 36 and go, you know what? Overall, the whole scheme of things, that's a win. I'll take it.
I would be like that little kid on Christmas who's opening all her gifts, and then she's like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'll take an L if we get 35 points from Shamet.
We'll
Except for in the playoffs. In the regular season, yes. In the playoffs, I don't know. That'd be a tough one.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough one.
No, it would suck if we got eliminated in the playoffs and Shamet had 35 in the closeout game.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh my God.
That would be
It'd be a bad luck for us to be celebrating on set as the
Right?
Suns get eliminated.
Right?
like so
You know what?
conflicted in the worst possible way.
Have we not learned anything that we just simply need to accept joy when it comes in whatever form it comes, right?
I mean, that's
We did say that about 1 million times last year, and now look at us.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of the throes of the season, and I think everything's going to be fine. I really do. I'm more concerned about how they're going to play against Memphis. I want to see them play with this kind of energy and this kind of execution against Memphis, and then I'll feel better about where they're at. If they go against Memphis and get mollywopped just like they did the other day, yeah, straight panic mode.
Yeah, it'll be concerning. But fingers crossed, we don't have to deal with that. Fingers crossed, everything will go well. We'll get Book back. We'll get more players on the Suns team back. And things will start to turn around. And we'll see more energy, more grit, more fight from these guys. Whoever is available to play will come with the right mindset of that they need to be playing hard, strong Suns basketball. And they can't take nights off like maybe they were able to do last year. And they actually have to put their heads down and get to work. So fingers crossed, that's what we'll see over this upcoming road trip. I know at one point in time, the Suns were pretty decent on the road. I know that was more specific to Devin Booker, but maybe the rest of the team can get a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and find a little bit of grit here in the near future. Somebody asked, I think it was Omar or Manny asked, how's my hamstring? I was not out because of a hamstring, unfortunately. I wish I was. I feel like it would have been a lot easier. I was in health and safety protocols, but I can tell you my hamstrings feeling great. You know why? Because this couch, it's from More Furniture. And More Furniture is so comfortable. I sat on this couch for 2 weeks straight, basically, is what it felt like.
Did
It was like
somebody
sitting on a
even
cloud.
ask about your hamstring for
Yeah,
real?
it
Oh,
did
for
the
real. For real.
Really?
Somebody did. I'm not going to make that up.
I thought you did just so you could have a
No.
fucking transition.
I wouldn't make that up. That for
I was
real
like,
was a question.
Damn, Lizzie's going hard on these transitions. Coming up, fabricating stories in the chat and whatnot.
I don't lie,
Okay.
Saul. I'm not lying. More Furniture is fantastic. I'm just saying. I'm just wanted the people to know how great it is. If you get stuck at home for 9 or 10 days, you're gonna want to have some comfortable furniture from More Furniture. Even if you're not stuck at home, you should still have some really comfortable furniture in your house because treat yourself. Head on over to morefurniture.com right now to check out all of the great stuff they have to offer. Saul, I promise I'm not living in fantasy land. I just like to hang out on the Underdog Fantasy app. There's a big difference. I'm not making things up. There's a big difference. I'm telling you.
For two.
Hold on. When I do this, You guys act like I am the worst human being on the face of the planet. She doesn't. You act like little school children.
That's why I literally just called her out because I thought she made up a whole fucking fabricated story. What else do you want me to do for you, buddy? Jesus.
That's like I
think that's pretty much going at her as much as I possibly can.
Jared's sitting here thumping his chest, like wanting to give her a fist bump. Like, yeah, I do it. He's like, you are the dumbest human being I've ever heard. Read an ad ever. We are dumber for having heard what you had to say. I award you no points, sir.
You're sick. Give her a break.
We must be watching two different shows, man, because I did not see Gerald do that. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so anyway, the Underdog Fantasy app is super fun. Like, it's a great place. It's the best way to combine fantasy sports and winning a lot of money. You can play on the Underdog Fantasy app by yourself. You can play on the Underdog Fantasy app with your friends. Espo at PHNX, we have an Underdog Fantasy show that will help you kind of get your feet wet or into the app. If you're new to the game, Espo's been on it quite a few times. It's a really informative and a super fun show. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. And right now on the Underdog Fantasy app or underdogfantasy.com, if you go and you sign up with promo code PHNX, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. So make sure you're taking advantage of that free money that they want to give you to get started having some fun on the Underdog Fantasy app. How many times can I say Underdog Fantasy app in 1 minute?
It was
we could go higher, we could go lower. We could put the money with the higher or lower.
I wish you would have done it in 30 seconds.
Well, you derailed it. It wasn't my fault.
Oh, I got something to show you guys.
Oh, what? Oh,
quick, let's end it while he's gone.
It's so bad right now because you guys made me laugh. Thankfully, I have a mute button right now because when I'm laughing, like I still have a little bit and it makes me cough.
By the way, people
you need to hear.
People in the chat asking if there's much media availability or quotes from the Suns. Looks like they got out pretty quick. Dwayne Rankin did have one from Chris Paul talking about his free throws. Chris said, quote, "If I make free throws, we win this game. It's just that simple." And I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Saul, what you got for us? What are you gonna show us?
So this is pretty cool. I think one of our favorite people, one of our diehards, I actually made one of these for each and every one of our shows, and I was able to get my hands on it. This is actually us.
What?
Oh, wow.
Let me pull it that way. There you go.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
That's
awesome.
Chris got these made for us. And yes, Lindsay, there is an alternate version of this that has the beanie on for you and my hat on.
Oh,
yeah. Is my beard on in an alternate edition too? Or?
Amazing.
No, I don't know. She must have given her a photo of when you shaved. You look
no
creepy.
beard. I look a lot like Peter Griffin. I'm just gonna say it.
Oh my God.
This is true. But shout out to Chris Melton, Die Hard for life. I love her so much. She did these. A friend of her did these, and she gave these to us for our Christmas gift for the office. So we're gonna hang these all over the office.
That's awesome.
Chris, you rock. Thank you.
Yes, that's so
Christmas.
fun. I can't wait to see that. Also, guys, guess what?
What?
Christmas came early this year. I didn't get to enjoy it, so I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. But Saul got me a stool for the studio for my feet. They're not going to hang off the chairs anymore, you guys. This is like the greatest news ever. I'm so excited.
We actually returned it since you weren't around. So.
You better not have. I'm going to be so mad. All right. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. We hope you had a very happy holiday. Thank you for spending your evening / early morning here with us after the game. We're going to take Monday off to recover from all the Christmas fun and shenanigans, but we will be back on Tuesday with a pregame and a postgame show for you. So plan to come join us for that. Until next time, be excellent to each other. And there's one last thing I did want to read from the chat. Regina said, "Hey, everybody, my son Chris watches your channel all the time. He's a huge Suns fan. He's 23. He has stage 4 cancer. Please pray for my son, Chris." So, Regina, thank you for sharing that message. We send you all the well wishes. and health in the new year for your son, Chris, and we'll keep him in our thoughts and prayers. Till we see you guys on Tuesday, you can follow me on Twitter at LindsaySmithAZ. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Hey, we started this show on Christmas and we're ending it on Boxing Day. Do we get overtime for this? Ahoy, hoy.